It's the Jimmy Doane Show.
Are we on?
I believe so. It says live. So, here we go. Everyone, how are y'all today? I see an eyeball there somewhere. Gene, hey!
Oh, gosh.
Good to see you, sir. This is, of course, the Jimmy Doane Show. It is 4 o'clock on Wednesday, which means we are live right here on Facebook. I'll post a timestamp copy up on YouTube right after the show. Today is the 5th of June, 2019. I'm here with Jimmy and Gene and at least one other person. So I'm working on a way I can include y'all in the show at some point. Maybe we'll take a quick break at some point in the coming show and review the comments. But for now, I hope you just enjoy the show. So, what is happening?
Well, one thing,
Dr. Doane.
a little announcement that came up that Muhammad Ali died.
What? Oh, too bad.
Died. Well, it was interesting.
Champ.
Well, it said, complications from Parkinson's or something, respiratory blood problems and so forth. But
Went from the boxing.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting was they said he was 74.
Okay.
He was born in 1942.
Okay.
So either I'm 74 or he was 77. So
they got their math wrong?
yeah, they got their math wrong. So I just,
Maybe he submitted his age.
They said he was born in January of 42, which means he would have turned 77 a couple months ago. I'm going to turn 77 in about a month or two.
Okay.
So that's what I know. Now a little update. It was kind of a fun update on the market system, I guess. In September, a couple of months, Texas plumbers will go unlicensed and unregulated. In September, the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners will be abolished. What happens is, in Texas, they have a sunset law, which is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And now normally it's just a rubber stamp thing. They have 10 years. It's on for 10 years, and in 10 years we have constitutional revisions here every 10 or 20 years. In Florida, whole constitution gets done over and and so forth. So anyway, it's this is the every 10 years. Well, they forgot to renew it. I mean, basically, it's going to expire on like Monday or yesterday or something like that, or no, September, I guess it is. All requirements of the plumbing license law will cease to apply in September.
Well, they didn't forget. They must have done it on purpose. Or
No. Apparently, what happened was they let's see. I'm trying to think what. They just forgot.
Well, some people, you never know. I mean,
right. Well, what happened was, the Texas legislature, disbanded. I mean, like they do here. In the last month or so, our legislative session in Tallahassee, I think, is 2 months out of every year. But everything, if you don't get done in 2 months, you go home.
Right.
So whatever. So at any rate, Paul Olson is a plumbing estimator for commercial service. He has a company. He says his worry about abolishing the Board of Plumbing Examiners is not about fixing a leak or clearing a drain. These kinds of things most homeowners are capable of doing. That's fine. But once we get beyond that, plumbers train for years to how to connect and piping to your meter. That includes natural gas lines to water heaters, stoves, and fireplaces. The KXAN.
It's all very dangerous.
Well, wait a minute. He says covered this explosion in 2009. Gas work triggered by an unlicensed plumber, according to investigators at the time. That was 10 years ago. Okay, that was the whole reason to have the plumbing examiners. Okay, then there's medical gas, oxygen, nitrogen lines at your hospital, doctor, dentist, and even your vet. According to Olson, a master plumber training takes up to 9 years. And of course, it's all while you're an apprentice.
Right.
So, what's the examination?
It's 8 years of plunging toilets, kid.
That's right. So anyway, these types of things are specifically regulated because they are at the highest levels of danger for the general public if it's not done correctly.
That's right.
Well,
the highest levels.
The highest level, what is interesting.
This blood is going to be on your hands.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Well, of course, I am sure that they're going to have, as we...
Toilets are going to be exploding all over Texas.
That's it. Boom. You know, there goes another one. You drive down the road.
You don't know how dangerous this is, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's what I'm saying. But my thinking is, certainly any homeowner worth his or her salt.
Listen, the tubes are going to get crossed underneath the pipes.
I had that.
And
I have that. I had, and here's the deal. I had an unlicensed plumber install.
Shut up! You're killing the whole market thing.
It's really funny because
I hope you got them cheap.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cheap, and what happened was
The guy who fixed it was expensive.
Yeah, right. Would have been actually no. To fix it would have been really expensive. I didn't fix it.
Oh, okay.
What happens is the hot water.
Shower in the poop. Go ahead.
No. With the hot water line goes to the toilet.
Ah.
Instead of picking sweet. So when you flush the toilet, steam comes up.
Oh God.
So every time you flush the toilet, it gets a hot bath. And so
I don't know if that's a. Well, it could be like a health and safety issue, you know.
I don't care. I mean, the point is, I have to rip out the whole wall to put the right pipe back on there. I'm not going to do it. And of course, it turns out that only if you flush the toilet like 2 or 3 times in an hour do you get the hot water. It has to go all the way back to the heater.
Oh, okay.
So it's no big deal. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is certainly you're going to, although an exception here, you're going to ask the plumber, tell me about your qualifications. You're going to have, and certainly you're going to have a plumber group. You're going to want to be part of a plumber group, and they do the inspections privately. Right. It's like Underwriter Laboratories.
Instead of a license, you get a certification.
Right.
That's what I've said. As all licensing could be certifications. Right. The government wants to say these are your people. Great. Put a certification on them that says USDA approved.
Well, we have, for instance, in the real estate business, you've got all kinds of levels that you can do. You can be a CCA or a CC, commercial real estate, and you have to go to school for. I mean, you have to go to these classes for. Right. Sometimes they last a week. Right. And in order to learn how to do whatever this stuff is, and then after your name, you get to put CA or whatever your designation is, showing that you've been through the class. I'm not sure that's an absolute guarantee, but neither is the government inspection a guarantee. The government licensing, for instance.
Oh, right. No, and look, we've gotten to the point of where the tests have no relationship to.
Oh well, especially the law test.
Well, especially the palm reader test. That's the one we always reference.
Well, I just saw this. Yeah, the palm reader test to be a palm reader. What I like. I just saw this cartoon. It's a Ziggy cartoon, and Ziggy is sitting in an airplane all by himself, and the stewardess comes up to him and says, "Geez, you've got the whole airplane to yourself. The big body of psychics that were supposed to they suddenly canceled at the last minute."
Whoa!
So at any rate, so the stewardess apparently wasn't worried. But anyway, so the deal is though that this can all be handled privately. As I say, you can do this in. The real estate is a kind of government thing as far as being a realtor, but the rest of the certifications are all private. Same thing with what used to have ASTA, which was the American Society of Travel Agents.
Well, we'll see if Texas goes down the drain.
Yeah, right, so to speak. That's exactly right. Cute. Okay, facial recognition in public school district could start this if this bill doesn't pass. Fear about school shootings cause a privacy nightmare. Lockport City school district in New York State is about to become the first government-run public school in the nation with facial recognition security system. This expensive new system is supposed to protect students from threats. School shootings, but there's a lack of transparency, they say, on how it's going to have the privacy and how it's going to do, things that what they're going to do apparently is they're going to lock in parents that are not allowed to show up, or pedophiles, or those. And so, if any of those people walk in the school, they'll be identified. And the school resource officer will be alerted.
Tases them.
And of course, yeah, exactly. So they started installing it yesterday or day before, I guess, and it was made possible. They had a grant from some government operation. So this includes level 2 and 3 of sex offenders. I
Right.
didn't know there were levels. These are really bad ones. Like
Yeah, well, I told you there's 2 in Florida, but
okay, I didn't know that. Suspended students and teachers or anyone else that the district has identified to be barred from the property. Anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you hack into that, you pull the photo up, and, the teacher's been banned from the property.
Right. Wouldn't it be interesting if ironic if it turned out that people started opting to wear like burqas in order to avoid facial recognition?
I guess
That becomes the clothing of freedom.
yeah, freedom clothing.
That's right.
it. It's my freedom burqa.
That's right.
That's it, exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I think that's interesting to see that what they're going to do with this. It can also allegedly detect 10 types of guns. So
All 10?
yeah, all 10, right? Yeah. So the
What if you have what if you put some facial prosthetics on?
a mask.
Right.
Just as to say, the most famous one that you can get for $1 is the big nose with the glasses with the eyebrows on it.
Right, that one, right.
Yes, that's
Your
a good
Guy
one.
Fawkes mask.
Well, that's another one.
Right.
So anyway, the what they're worried about is it turns out that this facial recognition has a little problem with people of color. They all look alike.
Oh, so it's racist.
It's racist. That's right. You can imagine. Yeah, how do you tell them Chinese apart anyway? They don't look alike to me. And so I think it's
It just keeps pinging the science teacher.
Yeah, right.
Just every time.
Right. Well, what's interesting is they have, as an ancillary to this, they arrested the deputy in Parkland that didn't go into the school.
Yeah.
He stood outside and everything. Well, he's been arrested for child endangerment or something like that.
How's that ancillary to the...
Well, I mean,
Very ancillary.
Yeah, very ancillary, right. Well, it was a resource officer that was supposed to be in the school and didn't,
Right.
so now what happens is you have the facial recognition, and do they have like not an amber alert, but a red alert on the resource officer's phone or whatever it is that comes in and says, alert, go, auga, go to station 10,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, my solution to that, of course, in school violence is stop those gun-free zones. I had a great GIF. You can Google it. It's super easy. It's a pie chart, and it looks like it's all the same color except for one tiny sliver, and that's the sliver is the mass shootings that have occurred outside of gun-free zones.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So schools are prime targets, and of course, if they would just allow the trained personnel, the people who are former law enforcement, former military, to bring their guns, that's what I think.
That's your solution?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know, whatever. You don't like that.
No, I just think the schools ought to be privatized, and each school makes their own.
Well, and you were right, exactly.
I don't see
that first.
Yeah. Well, the government, when they get involved in something, that bad things are going to happen, and so moving along.
Yeah.
Gender inclusive pronoun choices are now available in app for Lyft users.
What?
You want to call Lyft, you
Right.
use your Lyft app, and you say, I need to be not Mr. or Miss or Mrs., but Kabuga, whatever the pronoun is.
Right, but where do you put in your? Is it your?
It says
pronoun or
riders now
driver's
have the
pronoun?
option to add pronouns to their profiles.
I know. I'm just trying to imagine where in the app Lyft, the Lyft app, you put in any gender information. Like I can see you're calling a car. You're like I like a car. Do you put your identity in? Like you're picking up two girls and a guy or something?
Yeah.
And
then they apparently they put another little. You have your picture.
Right.
Okay, that's normal.
Right.
They picture the driver too. And
so you can select Mr. or Mrs. I'd like to be referred to as Mr. or Mrs. something.
or not, or
Right.
in other words, they got a separate line there.
Right.
Obviously, it matters. It has mattered if you're a Miss or a Mrs. I mean, if you're a student or something, you want them to address you as Miss so and so, maybe.
Okay.
And if you're a mom or something, and you want to be addressed as Mrs. Jones or whatever your name is.
Okay. So this is not to specify the gender of the driver. You can't like order.
Oh no. But the driver will know which pronoun is required, and I think there's a dozen or 2 dozen pronouns.
Okay. Yeah. To me, the more useful part of the app is where you can tell them I don't want to talk to you or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, is that on there?
Yeah, that's on there.
Okay.
You can say I'm in for a conversation or shut up and drive.
Shut up and drive. Right.
Right. To me, but it seems a little presumptuous to be able to.
Well, I just thought that was interesting.
I would like to be referred to as Premier.
That's right, Premier, right? King.
That's right.
It's Lord. It's Lord Doane, if you don't mind.
That's my pronoun.
Yeah, that's right. Moving along on visa applications, from this month, almost all visa applicants looking to travel or immigrate to the U.S. will have to list 5 years worth of social media profiles on their application.
Your papers.
Yes, exactly. Your papers. Your 5 years, and this is going to be this is part of Trump's extreme vetting.
Okay.
They figure it's going to 15 million applicants.
How do they know that I mean, this. Wouldn't you just create then? You have 2 online personas basically. Like,
I know I got more than one.
Yeah, I mean, see, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have 7? Oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah, this is.
I like cuddly kittens. And,
That's right. That's right.
Things
I mean, I don't know, but so they're going to have to supply 5 years of email addresses.
No, I'm not Danger 69.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. Child pedo number 1.
That's right. I'm not at child. No. There.
Flag for additional and expected to affect probably 15 million applicants. Anyone who has applied for a U.S. visa will already know how stringent the requirements are. This can include details about family members, travel and work history, proof of financial security, years of addresses, and more. I mean, that's normally what you do from out of the country. You have to get all that stuff down. And of course, it helps, obviously, if you've been stable. But I mean, if you're a traveling guy, man, what do you do?
It's tough. We had to do that for the bar. I had to put down every place I'd ever lived.
Is that right?
Yep. Every landlord, everybody, so they could call anybody and ask. And I think they sent them all letters. I think I sent everybody a letter.
Yeah. Well, they got to make sure that they don't have any unscrupulous lawyers.
That's right.
Like
That's
Mr.
Right.
Porno Lawyer or whatever it is, who's, the one that defended, what's her name? Stormy. He's
right, Avenatti.
Yeah, Avenatti.
Right, or that Harvard professor.
Yeah.
Who's defending Weinstein.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. How'd you get in there anyway? Okay. It costs over $4.5 million to have a lunch with Warren Buffett.
Well, this was an auction. I saw.
Yes, I know. It was an auction.
Yeah.
And it got up to $4.5 million. I mean, it started at 20,000 or something.
Yeah.
But
that they said it was 20,000 decades ago.
In 2001,
okay,
the bidding was at 20,000.
Oh, okay,
and it won. They won.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was the one guy that won.
Right.
You can have 7 people with you, and that's a fancy upscale restaurant.
And it goes to charity, Dutch. Right? It goes to charity.
Yeah, it goes to his charity. His charity is it's the Glide Foundation, a San Francisco nonprofit that helps poor, homeless, and the most vulnerable via these meals. Or not, they don't get the meal. Mm-hmm. They get the help.
I was just going to say, who pays for the meal?
Well, Dutch. Maybe you go Dutch. I don't know. Can you imagine your waiters out there? I'll have the
$4.5 million
the leaky soup.
Right.
You invite your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe you invite a couple of homeless people. Why not? You get up to 7 friends.
Yeah. So, well, I can think of a couple reasons.
You get some guy with he's asleep outside of this restaurant.
Right.
Come on, I'll get a meal.
You're our +7.
Yeah, you're our number 7. So it's to say it's interesting to me that $4.5 million, as somebody said, you wonder what is this investment? I mean, this is probably not the last $4.5 million who the winner has.
Yeah, well, no, certainly not. I mean, that's somebody with $100 million. He's some cryptocurrency guy or something.
Oh, right.
He's probably got hundreds of millions. He's gonna buy with a few bitcoins or something.
But so you have lunch, 2-hour lunch or whatever with Warren, and certainly you're going to want to ask him a question or two, I would think.
Yeah. Well, I would think what you'd do is you'd call 6 of your rich friends or 7 of your rich friends and divide it up and get everybody to chip in.
Yeah.
So you all can all come and ask a question too or whatever.
Right.
Or you buy the whole thing out and occupy time for the whole,
Right.
just you. You get the one-on-one if you really had some questions.
You can read his book, for God's sakes.
I know, that's the thing is
his investment strategy is so well known.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
It's the textbook, I'm going to say.
You think about it. He started with, I won't say he started with nothing, but he, 1969 or 70 when he started the company, whatever it was, the clothing company or something that it was, and then he just, it wasn't big. It was, it was really small then. But if you bought a couple of shares of Berkshire Hathaway at that point, you like one share, $200,000, it would cost you a couple $100 for one share. And now it's worth a couple $100,000.
Well, he's done well, but I don't see. I'm with you. I mean, I guess it's just like if you just spent $5 million on a Jackson Pollock or something. What's $5 million for dinner with Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah, well, at least the Jackson Pollock is something you get to see every day. It's not just lunch.
Well, you get to tell everybody for the next however long.
Yeah, you'd certainly want to get your photographers in there. Remember the Warren.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you get at least one selfie or something, but I think it's for the stories, I guess.
Yeah, gotta be. Okay, now here's another legal thing. It's interesting. 4 Arizona women were convicted leaving water for migrants.
Yeah.
The volunteers, who are members of a faith-based humanitarian aid group called No More Deaths, were caught on August 13th, 2017, so it was a little, not quite a year ago, at federal wildlife, 2 years ago. Federal wildlife officers, they left water jugs, beans, and other supplies for migrants in the
beans. That's so racist.
Yeah, right. Oh, no question.
Keep going.
Yeah, so it's pinto beans or whatever at the Cabeza Prieta National Wildlife Refuge.
Call these beans.
That's right. Frijoles. Which shares a 50-mile border with Mexico. They claimed that 155 migrants have died in the refuge since 2001, and the organization wants to spare lives by leaving food and water out of there. The judge ruled that 3 of the volunteers were convicted of entering a national wildlife refuge without a permit.
Right, and leaving their belongings inside.
And personal property or possessions. A 4th volunteer was convicted on an additional charge of operating a motor vehicle in the park.
Right. Well, to me, that's good news. That's better than what you could actually see happening, which is them being charged with assistance of a terrorist organization or something.
True.
I mean, you could have, that's a federal offense that they're playing with in terms of
6 months. They all got 6 months in the pokey.
Did they get jail or did they get probation?
No, it says they face up to 6 months in prison.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
See, now, that to me tells me that they were convicted of literally the lightest crime possible.
Okay.
So, and they'll all get probation. This was just the judge's way of convicting them of something.
Yeah.
Just to discourage them from doing it again. To say, look, well, we threw the book at him.
It's a little tiny book.
It's a little tiny book. That's right. We threw the pamphlet at him.
That's right.
Because you don't want to discourage them. Obviously, they're trying to literally save lives.
Right.
So you don't want to hurt them too bad, but obviously the federales have to be in charge of immigration.
Yeah, but a 50-mile border this park has with Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. How do you patrol that?
Drones,
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. This I thought was interesting. The Democrats, they had a big Democratic convention in San Francisco.
Okay.
I don't know when it was. It was like less than a week ago. It might have been Saturday or something.
Mm-hmm.
A room full of San Francisco Democrats booed former Colorado Hickenlooper on Saturday after he warned against embracing socialism and socialist policies.
Mm-hmm.
They booed him because he said basically socialism is not really what you want to do here. And they boo! Yes, it is. We love socialism. Look at Maduro.
Yeah, I watched a clip of it. I didn't hear him specifically reference socialism, He did say, though, I think...
He said, if we don't draw a clear distinction between Democrats and our candidates and socialism, comma, the Republicans will paint us into a corner that we can't get out of.
Okay.
Now, you see what happened here?
He painted himself into a corner there?
No.
Oh.
He ended the sentence with a preposition.
Oh.
Right away. Out.
You call yourself presidential material?
Yeah, right. Wait, where'd you learn your English there, buddy?
The thing about that is that, keep going.
But I was just going to say, massive government expansions may not be strictly speaking socialism, but trust me, Republicans will make it seem like socialism. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Look,
massive government expansion
right.
is socialist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. That's, you have these people with guns,
right,
and they're going to compel certain actions,
right,
with this massive. I don't know what is the problem. I mean, what do you not see about socialism in that?
I think they just really, honestly, don't understand socialism. I think that it's the term is gaining in popularity because we got people coming out who are calling themselves democratic socialists, and we have a guy running for president who is very popular who calls himself a socialist, and they keep pointing to successful countries and saying the Scandinavian countries or whatever it is are the ones we're trying to model, which, as everybody should know, have free market bases.
What is it in Denmark? Mm-hmm. One of those countries up there has no minimum wage law.
Right. Well, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, no, we did.
But they also have a lot less barriers to entry than
right.
we do, and things like that. But so what the new brand of socialists are saying, well, that's fine. You can have your production. We just want a bunch of your tax money. We just want 60%.
Yeah.
And you had AOC coming out this week also saying that she wasn't going to let the profiteers get away with taking money when people needed housing. And
the profiteers.
That's right. And she said, yeah, profits. She basically said, that's my word, profiteers. But the point is she thinks profiteers are bad people. They're like musketeers or
right.
something.
Yeah.
They're gonna get you, and they're taking something from you. She believes that there's a finite pie, and that if there's people who are missing housing, it's because somebody else has extra profits that they've taken from it. She doesn't realize the profiteers create value, and they take a little bit of the extra value over and above what they voluntarily sell to the consumer for housing. But no, it's not good enough for her. She's totally justified, and it's the same thing. We're getting this socialism thing. I heard the other night somebody said in a live performance, one of the comedians said capitalism is bullshit and got cheers.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just
they did. Of course, they're the excesses of something that they call that they refer to as capitalism.
That's what
it's
I'm saying.
Not.
Well, that's right. It's what we call cronyism, or
cronyism.
Some people call crony capitalism. We just call straight cronyism.
Straight cronyism.
Because that's all it is. It's certainly
not
not capitalism.
It's not capitalism.
It's a favoritism type of thing.
Yeah,
and I hear people talk even about, they talk about the regulators, and they'll say the regulators have been captured by the big companies.
Some of them have.
That's right.
Yeah,
and talking about regulation capture, but then their solution is still just better regulation or something,
right.
like stronger regulation.
Well, that
more.
that was the same thing. For instance, I saw some cartoons about this when Dodd-Frank, after the crash, and then they were talking about Dodd-Frank says, well, we don't have enough regulations on the banks, so now we're going to really regulate.
Right. Well, and of course, everybody pointed back to the Glass-Steagall repeal,
right?
And they said that's what caused it, which it didn't.
No,
that allowed the mixing of the funds, but
what happened was, I can tell you this right off the bat, that what they didn't do with the repeal of Glass-Steagall is they kept the government insurance on there. In other words, they said now you're insured. By Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, you are now insured up to $100,000
right.
of loss by the federal government. Well, they should have said no more insurance.
Right.
You're on your own. You put the money in the bank.
You just did the white power thing. Yeah, that's right. Well, look, but that didn't ultimately have any negative impact or consequences on the bank's finances. I mean, the collapse happened because of the guaranteed loans for all the housing and everything.
Right, which is guaranteed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those guarantees were on there, but the the Glass-Steagall thing, that's the deregulation, that didn't hurt us.
I think what happened was they forgot to repeal the insurance part of it. Glass-Steagall, as far as I'm concerned, you could repeal it. You could have the banks do anything they want. They could be a savings bank. Before, as you know, it was you had a savings bank which was regulated on one, and then the regular banks another. But so you mix them all together, but no insurance.
Well, and here they didn't even need insurance because they got a bailout. They got a giant bailout.
Right.
So there's your insurance.
Yeah.
Nothing paid in. Here's your payout, and so. And from everybody's perspective, all these socialists, from their perspective, that worked. I see these graphs that show the Obama economy, and it's this rise and all these jobs, and you look though, and it's 2% growth or something.
Yeah, right.
Super tepid. I mean, the green shoots never really took root and grew. I mean, they're little bushes now, but of course it's built on this cheap money.
Right.
And so.
Well, that was one of the reasons they said that the market went up today a little bit, apparently a pretty good size, whatever, a couple hundred points or something, was because the Fed has indicated it might cut rates.
Right. Well, Peter Schiff has been talking about that.
I know.
And we have as well. I mean, we thought it would happen before this, now.
Yeah.
But it has to happen at some point. As you said many times, what's inevitable is inevitable. It's going to happen.
Right.
It's been 10 years. It's been a crazy amount of time, relatively speaking. So we're bound to see something. And somebody's going to get caught holding the bag. I did see, though, that Schiff brought up a good point about Trump and the tariffs and such, and he thought maybe Trump is forcing all this tariff stuff right now to cause a little turbulence of the market, to make the Fed think twice about lowering rates. Maybe they'll do it now and stave off a recession before the next election.
Well, everything hinges on that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure that if there's a crash, it comes after the election.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So I don't know where this.
I don't either.
We'll see if the socialists get in. I mean, if the crash happens beforehand, they're going to ride the wave. So.
Yeah. So I just think it's kind of interesting to see that. Okay, Pompeo, one of our favorite warmongers, again threatens Germany. Drop Huawei or intelligence sharing blocked, or intelligence share. Or what we're going to do is we're not going to share our intelligence apparatus with you anymore if you don't stop partnering up with Huawei. Huawei. That's the Chinese cell phone manufacturer, among other things. Okay, Pompeo issued an ultimatum following a meeting with German Foreign Minister Friday, saying the decision on whether to allow Huawei equipment would have severe consequences. His words came at the start of a 5-day European tour. Germany will take its own sovereign decisions, but we, the United States, will speak to them openly about the risks. And in the case of Huawei, the concern is not possible to mitigate those anywhere inside of a 5G network, says Pompeo. Mm-hmm. He told the news conference, there is a risk we will have to change our behavior in light of the fact we can't permit data on private citizens or data on national security to go across networks that we don't have confidence in. So they've just decided to, basically take it out on Huawei or whatever it is. And it's interesting. They point out, over there 5G and that threaten Germany. I mean, Germany wants to do business with these folks, and so we're going to say, well, now we're not going to do business with one of our allies.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say that Huawei should be spelled Wahway.
Right.
Okay, if you want to put it in English. Okay, yeah. I don't know who advised them how it's spelled. What?
Well, it's spelled with chicken tracks.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's how it's originally spelled. Right. So when the English translator went, oh no, this is how H-U-A. No, no, wrong. Fire that guy. He doesn't speak English. Our alphabet works a little differently. Okay.
Yeah.
You use the W for the W sound. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to side with Pompeo here from the standpoint. Well, because look, intelligence and especially military intelligence, that's the name of the game. If there's any game that the federal government is performing for us at all, it's a superstructure of military intelligence. And if we feel as though Huawei's 5G network spread throughout the United States through these cell phones are going to somehow jeopardize our national security in an actual way, then You put the kibosh on it. And I mean, I don't know why. It seems weird that we would somehow see this announcement from him. I mean, maybe that's the game, is to play it up in the public, and then maybe the Chinese people will get riled up or something.
Right. We'll forget that.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just not sure why we are privy to whatever.
Guy's a nut job. As far as I'm concerned, Pompey or whatever Pompey.
You're gonna get a no from corporate. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I think he's a nut job. I just think he's off base on this stuff.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, moving along. This I thought was kind of interesting. The first large group from Africa wades across the Rio Grande into the USA. Wait a minute. It gets better. A group of illegals from Angola, Cameroon, and the Congo waded across the Rio Grande River into the United States. Video from Customs and Border Protection shows. The video shows male and female adults walking through the water onto the Texas, several with children on their shoulders. And of course, then they stopped him. And, where are you from? I'm from the Congo, the Congo, or something. Yeah. Sorry. And click, click, click. And we need a translator for that. So I just thought, of course, your first question is not, since the Congo doesn't border on Mexico or on the United States, how did they get to Mexico?
Yeah. Well.
And then why? And then go to the United States? I guess they didn't want to fill out this visa business.
Well, yeah. I mean, we still have numbers. We still have a really restricted system of immigration.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
I remember when I was down in Costa Rica. And there was this girl there, and she spoke English perfectly. I mean, perfect. And she was Costa Rican, and we chatted and everything. And she said she had applied to go visit her mother or some relative in Miami. And they turned her down, and the reason was her English was too good, and they thought she would disappear. That was the reason.
Yeah.
She didn't have an accent. I mean, it was just amazing.
Crazy. See, from my perspective, of course, we talked about this before. Immigration the default rule should be let them in, unless there's an exclusion. Unless you're some kind of criminal or terrorist, or we know about you on some kind of watch list. Come on in. Doesn't matter. You don't have to qualify or anything like that. That would be my rule, and I'd give you the homestead in the desert, whatever it is. Here's your tenth of an acre in the sand.
Tenth of an acre ain't much.
Well, third of an acre. There you go. Fifth of an acre.
Well, this place here is an acre.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. You're not getting an acre. I did the math on how much.
Did you?
Yeah, on how much arable land is owned by the federal government, that could be just deeded to somebody, where it could be created into a livable space, and you could give everybody that's coming for the next 50 years like a fifth of an acre, including all the Americans who are here right now. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I want my fifth of an," okay, here you go. Here's your fifth of an acre. It's in the.
An acre ain't much.
Well, no, but it's
even a quarter of an acre is just barely enough for a house.
No, they have subdivisions.
Our house in Pompano was on a quarter acre.
And there's probably 7 freaking Haitians living in that house at this point.
I doubt it.
Well, maybe not that house, but in houses that size in Miami, there totally are.
Okay.
Because look, that's it. That's a
pool.
There you look. Look at you. All we had was 1 acre with a pool
and a dock.
That's right.
Water and it led out to the ocean.
That's right. Horses. The barn only holds 7 horses.
That's right.
Now, look, a fifth of an acre would be plenty, and especially in a nice community, and because everybody would have their fifths and.
Fifths is right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just think that it's interesting that the Congolese now are migrating into.
Why not? I mean, why not come over?
But I mean, do they take Kontiki over or something like that, or do they pony up an airplane ride from Mombasa to wherever in someplace?
Maybe. I mean, maybe you take the ship. You take the.
Well, of course, the thing about it, what's interesting to me is how did they even get into a country in South America to get up here? In other words, they certainly would have to have a passport, it seems to me.
I mean, I would think Mexico would be kind of slack about that. But it's interesting that they are still in a group.
Yeah.
That is to say, I mean, I could see
racist.
individual people trickling in here and there, but how do you get how many people?
It didn't say. It just said it said a large
group.
So maybe 100. I don't know.
I mean, that's what the sort of the implication of large group to me would
I didn't
be.
read it. I just got this.
But,
I just thought it was interesting that they go from the Congo and from Mozambique or whatever it is
Right.
to South America and then up to the United States.
And there's probably some guy on a soapbox over in the Congo going, "Hey, passage to America, step right up and take your $10 right now. Get on the boat."
Take your $1,000.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, they could repurpose those old slave ships.
Oh God.
Hey, look, this is what we're talking about here, okay? Did you ever see pictures of the slave ships? The way they were in the hold?
No.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. You talk about a bad ride. You think airplane seats are bad?
Oh yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, they're packed in there like cordwood. So anyway, in a blow to Maduro, Russia withdraws key defense support to Venezuela. I thought this was interesting. Yeah. Russia has been one of Maduro's major supporters in its standoff with the United States. The Russian defense contractor, Rostec, has trained Venezuelan troops and advised on securing arms contracts, has cut its staff to just a few dozen from 1,000 that were there before at the height of cooperation. And the reason is, excuse me, the reason is the gradual pullout was escalated over several months. Is lack of new contracts because Venezuela can't pay them. No pay, we're leaving.
But
Bye. That's right. I thought this is Maduro's regime can no longer has the cash to continue to pay for other services associated with the past contracts. So,
wow.
That's smart. I mean, that's at least smart enough. If you don't pay, we're leaving. Bye-bye.
We're taking our mercenaries
Yeah.
and getting out of here. Wow. Well, Comrade Maduro, we're very sorry, but
we're leaving now. You're on your own. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Now, the other piece of good news is drinking up to 25 cups a day of coffee is no longer damage to the heart.
Mm-hmm. I can confirm that.
Yeah, well, apparently they study looked up more than 8,000 people across the UK and found that drinking 5 cups a day, even 25, was no worse for the arteries than drinking 1 cup a day. And what I thought was interesting is we're not saying this, you should feel great about it, but the science is apparently the science is on your side. Of course, the science previous to this was saying if you drink more than a cup or two, you're going to die. It's suggested that coffee stiffens the arteries, putting pressure on the heart and raising the risk of a heart attack or stroke. So now that's been debunked. So it reminds me a little bit of the sweeteners, from the saccharin one time, and then it's okay, and then
butter,
margarine,
and then it's
everything. I mean, the food pyramids have gone upside down.
Upside down.
That's right.
Upside down.
This is your government at work.
Yeah.
And so now they've got 25 cups, which seems a little much, but it's coffee is kind of a diuretic too.
Can confirm on the 25 cups. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Now another thing that I thought was interesting. Russia cut scenes from Rocket Man, which is the Elton John biopic. Movie opened in Moscow. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago or something. So they said
it came out in Moscow. That's what.
Yeah, it came out in Moscow. That's right. So they cut a bunch of the sex scenes, the boy-to-boy sex scenes, an estimated 5 minutes. 5 minutes of footage, not much out of the whole
That's
thing.
because Russians are susceptible to that kind of
right, exactly. There's
imagery.
That's right. Well, see that you can just see that all the Russians all the Russian guys take their boyfriends to see this movie. Here's look.
That's right. Well, they go in and they're just friends. But
that's right.
But
they come out. Well, not only that, of course, I haven't seen that position before. Let's try that, honey.
You're my rocket man.
That's right. So anyway, the cuts were all scenes of kissing, sex, and oral sex between men have been cut out. The nastiest part is that the final caption has been removed from the finale. So I'm not sure what that's.
Final caption.
I don't have any idea. Haven't seen it yet. I'm probably not going to.
Yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody was pretty good, but.
What's that all about?
That's about Queen. That was the other.
Oh right, yeah.
Recent biopic about
I love Queen.
Gay superstar. Yeah, it's awesome.
Now, the last couple of things I had on today was dozens of women get naked outside of Facebook in New York. Well, they're protesting.
Oh, okay.
They're protesting. They stripped naked and laid on the ground, clutching gigantic images of male nipples. Apparently, Facebook has a nipple ban on women. If you can't put a picture in there of women's nipples.
Okay.
And so what they did is they blew up giant pictures of men's nipples from Facebook.
Oh.
And then used those, on them or something like that. So they're protesting the nipple ban. Men are currently allowed to share many images of their nipples as they wish, but not available to women where bosoms are simply not welcome on Mark Zuckerberg's social network.
Are these are women who wanted?
Well, I saw the picture of them. They had a picture of them all there.
Okay.
There's about probably 50 or 75 of them all naked, and right outside the Facebook headquarters or Facebook whatever it is. Not the headquarters, but whatever it is in New York. That's it's the outside Astor Place subway station in Manhattan.
Hey, that's one way to protest.
Yeah, right. Well, bring it on. But what I thought was interesting, I saw some of the comments, and the comments were, crazy ladies, what are you doing? This, that, the other. I'm thinking, where was the guy that said, bring it on? I mean, more naked, please. They were.
That's right. We're resisting your demands until you reach 1,000.
Yeah. So I thought that was one way to protest, and so I don't know if they arrested any of them.
Right.
I mean, some of them probably were indecent exposure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, as we've talked about before, the rule of decency in America is nebulous, thanks to Stuart Potter, or Potter Stewart, the
Potter Stewart, yeah,
the justice who.
I know it when I see it.
That's right, and I think a girl's nipple. That's pretty much universally. That may be something that could be named, because
well, I know they have. I mean, there are. I remember here in Gainesville, for instance, that for a while we had a strip bar here, and what they did is you had to put pasties on.
Right, exactly.
And
I think that's the standard.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the final thing I've got here is Holzhauer's run on Jeopardy ends shy of record. Now
really?
Yep. He apparently just missed out on the record. If he'd won this particular game, apparently he might have surpassed the guy.
Ken Jennings.
Yeah, Ken Jennings, right? He won about $2.5 million, and
he did it a lot quicker than Ken.
Yeah, it was in 33 games. Ken did it in 74 or
something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, a remarkable run of Jeopardy stopped just short. Emma Botcher, a user experience librarian from Chicago, won $46,000 to defeat Holzhauer on Monday's episode, ending his prolific 32-game winning streak that had captivated the nation. Now, it's interesting because they do these like all at one time. They have a couple of weeks worth of Jeopardies at one time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way they do a lot of those shows.
Yeah.
Are just bringing a new audience, taking everything, you change your suit, and that's next week's show.
Right.
And so anyway, it's he came behind computer scientist and author Ken Jennings, right? So I thought it was interesting that he was $56,000 behind the winning.
Wow.
Of the whole,
out of $2 million.
Out of $2 million, right? So still. $2 million's not bad.
Not bad.
And he did it, as I say, he did it in half the time.
Yeah, the guy's a professional gambler.
Yeah, right.
So
well, the other guy was a computer, and of course if you've ever seen how they prepare for this, I mean, they watch, they watch thousands of hours of old Jeopardy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, these people really prepare for. Oh my God, yes. And of course, I thought that it was interesting that they used in Groundhog Day, they used Jeopardy. And Bill Murray would be sitting there, and he'd do all the answers, and it was, how did you know that? He'd watched the show 50 times.
Yep.
So
all right, let's see. I got a couple of quick stories here. We got a little bit of time left. There was a story that is actually still teetering on the truth. There was a story about a healthy 17-year-old in the Netherlands who allegedly was euthanized.
Yeah, now what's euthanized? That's not
That's suicide, assisted suicide.
Yeah, how? But she wasn't assisted.
Well, that's what. Right. Exactly.
So she wasn't euthanized. I mean,
there's still
about the word.
Right. Exactly.
But the point is that she did it herself.
Well, apparently she did a hunger strike and a.
But she had something.
Thirst strike or something. They didn't force feed her, is what.
No, they didn't force feed her.
So.
And she was like 17.
Yeah.
Well, she had been traumatized by rape.
Right.
And she'd reported the police, and apparently they didn't do much.
Well, whatever. I mean, the point is that
she had serious PTSD.
Right, but she's 17.
Yeah.
I mean, you got time to grow out of that at that point. But the only reason I bring it up, I mean, I wasn't even going to bring it up because it said euthanized in the thing, but it clearly was not, or at least it doesn't seem to be at this point.
No.
In the story. So.
I don't know how she did it.
Well, apparently she went on a hunger and thirst strike.
Yeah, but so she died from malnutrition or what? I mean,
yeah.
I saw a picture of her. She had something up her nose.
Okay. Well, like I said, there is some question as to whether or not the doctors eventually assisted her, because I've read conflicting reports at this point.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. If they have, I think that's tragic. I mean, something like 4 or 5% of the deaths in the Netherlands are from euthanasia.
Right.
But I assume that those are old people.
Right.
In terminally ill conditions.
And pain.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's different.
Well, I can certainly see that.
Yeah. Exactly. Healthy 17-year-old. Okay. Let's see. Oh shoot, what was that about? Oh, okay. Apparently, they're doing an investigation about the Flint, Michigan water. Finally.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, why would you think you'd ever want to do an investigation about the polluted water for an entire community that is?
Well, to me, I mean, I know you're joking, but the question is, why? What took them so long?
You kidding? Of course that.
Right.
What? I mean, how long has it been? 5, 6 years? 7 years?
Something like that.
At least.
I mean, it's been a long time, and I don't think it's all fixed up or anything.
You know, and their solution for a while was to cart in bottled water.
Right. Right.
You know, when you think about when you think about what bottled water
I'm taking
costs.
a shower now.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about what bottled water costs,
right,
compared to tap water.
Oh my God!
I mean,
the ridiculous costs. Yeah, it's interesting, but I think the reason is because it may go all the way to the top. They're going after the cell phone records of the former governor.
Okay.
So that is a big deal. I mean, he's the top executive for the state. So to me, that would explain what took them so long, because they got a lot of red tape to cut through to get at that guy.
God.
So, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah. I'm just kind of reporting on that. All right. I guess that's all I got. I have nothing. Got nothing today.
You got nothing. Okay. Well, then that's we're going to end a little early.
That's right. Well, how about that? So.
But now to let everybody know, this will go up on YouTube here in probably an hour or two.
Yep.
With timestamps.
That's it. That's it. So join us then. And of course, we'll be back on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Thank you, Gene, Jody, Uncle John. Hope you guys had a little fun. And
we did.
Yeah. So we'll be back. These tracks brought to you by Kevin MacLeod. We really thank Kevin for this. This is our copyright waiver. So join us again every Sunday and Wednesday, or find us on iTunes and audio.
Yeah, and if you see us on YouTube, make sure you give us a like or something, or what do you call it? A sentence that says these guys are good.
These guys suck.
These guys suck. Don't watch them.
All right, we'll see you next time.